What's going on, everybody? DStyleBoxing here, doing a quick sound check, so bear with me. Making sure I got some sound here. It's 2017 is almost up. Ain't that crazy? It's crazy, man. That is something. For some reason, this thing is taking forever to come up, but let me, there we go. Just be on the lookout for my year rewards video for the sport of boxing. That should be up. I'll be doing it live anyway, but I'll be doing it maybe, I'd say Saturday is a safe bet for sure, right? So make sure you're on the lookout for that. Let's talk about this movie. Never thought I'd be talking this much about this movie, but here we are. The Last Jedi. It seems either people, well, I've been hearing it that like people are saying either they love it or they hate it. Like, I don't know about that. I'm right in the middle, so I don't know about that. So maybe I am in the minority. Okay. So let me just, in case you did not watch my last video on it, look, could the movie be better? Could it have been better? Yes. Right. But do I personally think the movie was terrible? No. Now, quick disclosure, and this must be said, right? This is not coming from the perspective of like a big Star Wars fanatic. Like I'm not the guy to come to. Like if you have a question about Star Wars, you know, like, hey, D-Style, like, what do the Jedis feel about this? I don't know. I have no idea. Okay. I could guess for you if you like, right? So, but I've watched the movies and I like the movies. I have not till recently, but and I'll explain that in a moment, but I don't like go out of my way to watch theories on Star Wars. I've never read comics. I never read books. None of that. Like, it's just not, I've watched the movies and that's it. Okay. There's some of the movies that I've watched maybe twice in my lifetime. All right. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie. So make of that what you will, right? Like, I don't think this last one was as good as Revenge of the Sith. And as I think about it more, I honestly believe that this new trilogy, the Force Awakens, to me is probably slightly better than this one. Okay, this one's somewhere either in the middle or below middle of where I rank all these Star Wars movies, but and we have yet to see how it's going to stand the test of time. We don't know that yet. Okay, I'm not one to say. Like I said, I only watch Star Wars movies and that's it. But this is what I've been doing. So I've been hearing the criticisms of this movie. Now I hear them, right? And look, I'll even admit, so some of the stuff that were brought up, I didn't even think about. You know, and they're good points. They're very good points, right? To be able to continue a storyline is extremely important. So let me give you an example. So I'm a fan of like Game of Thrones, right? And when it comes to something like Game of Thrones, you know, me who have actually like read these, A Song of Ice and Fire books, like I take that a little more serious than I do, let's say, Star Wars, right? I'm not saying it's better or whatever. It's just what I'm into. But like I'm not big on sci-fi, so the fact that I like Star Wars is actually a big deal, right? Just putting that out there. But so when it comes to something like that, like there's things I complain about that bother me, you know, like Littlefinger traveling all over fucking Westeros, and I bring that up, and yes, you get people that didn't even think about that. They didn't even cross their mind because they don't understand the map of Westeros, the distance. They don't understand like just things that I pay attention to that bother me. Okay, so to a certain degree, I understand, right? So that's why I always say before I continue that my perspective is far different than the perspective of someone who really is into Star Wars and has read comic books or books or has their own, like, go deep into the theories and the small details that do matter to them. Because it's fair to say that, because it's the truth. I'm not going to come on here and act like I'm this huge Star Wars fan, because I don't like to lie. Okay. And not only that, if I pretended that I was a huge Star Wars fan and just doing a review, you would people that do like Star Wars would easily be able to tell, okay, that I'm lying. All right. But anyway, but nonetheless, I give that disclosure nonetheless. Okay. So full disclosure, if you're looking for a review from someone who's not huge on Star Wars, and then that's why I'm doing that, right? But let's go ahead and talk about this. So a couple things, and this is just coming from the perspective of someone who noticed things in other movies that I watched from Star Wars that I felt were very inconsistent. Some of them are little small things, right? But some of them are bigger things. I'm going to talk about the ones that I noticed, and then I'm going to talk about the ones that I looked up, right? That I did not know until I looked it up, and then I'm like, well, that's true, right? So I want to be honest, right? Let me first say the two that stand out to me, okay? Number one, there's two things that seem blatantly obvious to me, okay? Numero uno, okay? Or three things, actually. Number one, actually, let's stick to two. So two, because I'm not sure about the third one, so I'll leave that one out of the way. So two. Number one, Darth Vader, okay? His importance in the film from the first movie, okay, and I'm talking about that would be episode 4, okay, A New Hope. From that movie to The Empire Strikes Back, the level of authority that he has drastically changes, and there's absolutely no explanation for it. Does that bother me as someone viewing the movie? Not really, okay, but it is something that I noticed, right? So in the first movie, now I have not seen A New Hope in a long time, so I was slightly corrected. I thought he was taking orders from all sorts of generals, but and I forgot the name. But there's one guy, I don't even know if general is the right term, so I apologize, I'm getting that wrong. But when I say generals, I'm talking about like the higher up dudes in charge of the empire or whatever, right? Because it could be something else, like empirical this or like, I don't know, right? But Darth Vader is clearly taking orders from someone, from a general, what I call general, okay? In the first movie, he's clearly taking orders. He's being ordered around by this dude, all right? Now, in the second movie, I mean, all of a sudden, Darth Vader takes orders from nobody, okay? All of a sudden, Darth Vader chokes dudes out that just even, if they just dare question him, he starts choking them out with the Force, right? Not going to admit, that's kind of cool. That's one of my favorite scenes, actually, in all of Star Wars, when he starts choking that motherfucker, right? But, well, now there's an explanation for that, because I actually looked it up, right? And the explanation was, oh, no, it's because Vader respected that guy. You know, like, so Vader had huge respect for a dude that had he couldn't control the Force, was nowhere near his power level. Okay, fair enough. But they gave you there's a quote unquote canon explanation for that, you know, but that's not really what happened. Okay, when you look into it, the reason that happened was because Vader was a very popular character, and they wanted to show how much more important he was. All right, and that's why in the film, right, they started to up the ante on his role because they knew it was going to come in the third movie. Right, so that's what happened there. But it's not like somebody sat down and said, okay, so Vader was taking orders here, so now we're going to go ahead and do this because he respected that guy. No. They changed that whole dynamic and came up with the explanation later, right? And I'm going somewhere with this, but that's the first thing. That's the first thing I noticed. The second thing, and it's from the original trilogies, okay? To me, I don't know about you guys, it seems awfully, it's almost, it's practically, I should say, it's completely and utterly, absolutely, all right, obvious to me that they were not meant to be like Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker. We're not really meant to be twins, okay? Unless Lucas, in some weird way, is somewhat of a pervert or some shit, okay? Who's into incest or something. Now, not that they had sex that we know about, okay? But they didn't make out, right? Remember that scene where like he fucking puckers up and gives her a big kiss? Remember that, right? And when I looked into it, okay, I forgot which one it was, Luke or Leia. They were gonna have another twin. It wasn't supposed to be them. And it's obvious. Like when you watch the first movie and then the second movie, it's obvious. They just switched the whole plot altogether, right? They switched the whole thing completely. And I'm gonna say this one, right? Let me talk about some of the other ones I looked up, right? Now, if I'm not exactly sure what the plan was with Luke, right? But if everyone quote unquote knew that Anakin Skywalker, okay, went to the dark side and was as powerful as he was, aligned himself with this powerful emperor, right? And you're gonna keep the same last name for the guy. Well, you just want to make it easier for him to be found, right? Another one, Yoda always preached about the rules of two, right, with the Sith. So why was Vader trying to recruit his boy, okay, Luke, to the dark side? What was the point of that? Was he going to be like semi-Sith? Like, was he not really a Sith? Right? Another one. Now, this one, these are things I didn't even know, to be honest with you. I just didn't know. But I looked it up. R2D2, or whatever the fuck he's called, right? Freaking Obi-Wan in the A New Hope acts like he's never seen this thing before. Who the fuck is this? Well, I don't know about you guys. R2D whatever, okay, is one of the most popular characters in all Star Wars. Well, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but in the prequels, they kind of fucked up. I mean, R2D2 spent 3 fucking movies with Obi-Wan. All right? So it's just strange, right? So there has been blatant inconsistencies in the Star Wars movies before. Okay? The Princess Leia Luke Skywalker was most definitely on Audible. Okay, that they, in the middle of it, it seems like they were winging this movie, right? And in the middle of it, they decided to go ahead and make them the twins, right? Another one. Now, this one I'm not too familiar with. I don't even know if this is a mess up, but because I don't, like, if you were to ask me how does the Force work, like I'm not like an expert on that. I don't know. Okay. It seems to me like the Force works however the fuck the screenwriter wants it to work. That's just my sense of it. But maybe there's somebody that knows more about the Force. But did Darth Vader know that Princess Leia was his daughter? Like, did he not know that? And if she had the ability to control the Force herself or to be Force sensitive herself, I mean, he even tortured her. And did he not know, or is he just sick like that? And because like, why did he turn on the Emperor when he was about to kill his son? And he went out of his way to tell him that I'm your father and all this, right? But when it came to Leia, like, he didn't give a fuck. Now, was it because somebody kept Luke Skywalker's last name? Right? Okay, like, so that there might be an explanation for that, but like, it's an explanation that they're gonna have to come up with outside of the bounds of the movie. Like, it's not a lot of this stuff is later explained, right? So there is a lot of inconsistencies between in all the movies, in all honesty. Right now, sometimes, in my opinion, these inconsistencies make the movie work a little bit. Okay, like Darth Vader no longer taking orders from anybody other than the Emperor, of course. It made sense. It was a right move to make. Okay, for Empire Strikes Back. Like if somebody's gonna lead the charge, it has to be Darth fucking Vader, right? Not some fucking middle-aged man, right? That doesn't have no fucking powers. Okay, like what the fuck is some stupid general in a stupid suit gonna do to fucking Luke Skywalker? Okay, nothing. He's gonna pee on his fucking pants. All right. So at the end of the day, yes, that was a right move, and they came up with some canon explanation for that later, and they're gonna be doing the same thing for all these other things. Okay. So we know, because this is the advantage that the older movies have, even the ones from the second trilogies. The advantage is that all these things have already been explained. Just that I believe many of us are assuming that they were always explained in the movies, but they weren't. All right, they were not explained in the movies. And in this case, here's another thing that I think, in my opinion, why The Last Jedi is getting a bad rap. Okay? So, and there's some other inconsistencies, but I don't want to go through that because it's not stuff I discovered, and I don't want to go over shit you guys can look up on the internet. You know what I mean? I was just kind of giving you some examples there. But as far as the Last Jedi, and here's I believe anyway, what the problem is with it. Okay? Like first of all, Empire Strikes Back is probably my favorite out of the original trilogy, right? I really like that movie. I think Darth Vader is badass in that movie. But of the original trilogy, first of all, if we look at a trilogy, that second movie, it's hard to top Empire Strikes Back. That's number one, right? Star Wars was fresh. There was no backstory people could look up back then, right? So there was a lot more mystery about it at that time, all right? And they had a lot of options open because the story had just begun to be told, right? The prequels had basically a foundation to work under. Like they knew what it was all going to lead to Anakin becoming Darth Vader. Like they knew what the ending was. Like they had a basic foundation. If anything, the prequels should have been a lot better because they had a basic foundation they just had to follow, right? Unfortunately, they did make a lot of mistakes, like the R2D2 situation, but it's really not a big deal in my opinion, right? Because they started from when Anakin was a kid, they were able to do the whole when he was a kid, when he was a hero of the Clone Wars, and then when he turns evil. So it worked with a trilogy. In this case, there is no foundation, right? And they're trying to work off of something where there was already an ending, right? Like Return of the Jedi was supposed to be the ending. They already defeated the Empire. So they basically have to start up a whole new fucking story. All right? So they got to figure out all these years, what has happened? So, and a lot of these characters are already dead. Darth Vader is dead. All right? And not only that, a lot of these characters are old to play movies, right? So it has to be all these years later. So they have to recreate a whole other story for it, right? And I understand there's already books and this, that, and the other, but here's a problem as to why I don't believe you can judge The Last Jedi fully until the third movie comes out, okay? Because they did, in fact, leave a lot of cliffhangers. They did, right? They didn't have that big I am your father moment or anything like that, okay? But maybe they should have done something where there would have been a big moment, okay? But they didn't. But in a trilogy, the movie, in a planned trilogy, the movie in the middle It's not starting anything and it's not ending anything. So it's very difficult for it to be a, a home run. It's difficult for a movie to do that, right? So let's talk about the characters. Now, this is just me, right? And I have a whole theory as to why they may be withholding the backstories on a lot of these characters. I understand it's frustrating people, and in my opinion, it is best for a movie to give a backstory. It is, right? But at times, there's exceptions to the rule. So let me give you an example. In The Dark Knight, this is Batman, right? Let's talk about two villains. One villain is Bane. The other villain is the Joker. They did a backstory on Bane, and you know what? It worked. Like, you know what I mean? It fit in perfectly, in my opinion. The Joker didn't have a backstory, but there was something mysterious about that. But with the Joker, it worked. It actually worked. It was just they were better off not doing the backstory. It worked out perfectly, in my opinion. Now, if the guy hadn't committed suicide, would it have done a backstory or not? Because I know he was supposed to be in the third movie, I believe. I don't know, but at the end of the day, it worked out. So when it comes to Rey, okay, I hear the criticism. I really do, right? And I'm not going to lie. I wanted to know who her parents were, right? Now, it's still not confirmed that her parents are nobodies, right? We don't know that for sure. But if they are nobodies, this is just my opinion. It's not going to ruin the movie for me, right? Now, I do want to know, it's a good point, outside the roles to make the point, how does she know how to do all this stuff, right? Because the reason, in my opinion, a backstory for Rey is necessary is for two things. Number one, right? So she knows how to wield a weapon and fight, and she knows how to control the Force. All of a sudden, nobody taught her this, right? So it has to be explained. Like, there has to be an explanation for that. Is there something about Rey that makes her special that she doesn't need training? And if so, why? Like, just cause is not a good reason, okay? Oh, it's just, she was just, born that way. Like, nah, that's not a good reason, right? If the third movie comes out and they literally never address that, and her parents really were just a bunch of nobodies, and she could control the Force like that, just cause, yeah, there's a problem there. Okay, so they do have to provide an explanation for that. All right. Either explain how she acquired this ability to do that. All right. Come on, there's a lot of money in these movies. Okay, you could come up with a good reason, right? Like right now, I'm not even thinking, but give me 2 hours, I would come up with a pretty legit reason, right? Like, just come up with a good reason. Because it's either someone taught her all these things, right? Or there's some type of, bigger explanation for it. Like, there has to be just because that's not going to fly, right? So if it turns out that just because, then when the third movie comes out, then yes, it's going to devalue this movie even for me at that point, right? But I honestly don't believe, or hope not. I hope it's not, but I don't think that they're going to leave it at just that. I don't think they're that lazy in the writing. I think they're going to come up with a reason. Snoke, right? You know what? I'm going to be honest. It kind of fits his character. There's something mysterious about that guy, right? So I think he's he's nothing like the character. Don't get me wrong, okay? But so hear me out. They're nothing alike, but he's kind of like the Joker in the sense that it can work, right? There's something like where did this guy come from? This deformed fucking monster with that unbelievable power, all right? Like, where did he come from? Okay, Snoke is someone that I believe, that they could even make a prequel about. Which brings me to this. I think they are withholding some of these backstories to do these Star Wars stories movies. That's my theory, and I don't think I'm that off. Okay? Because let's be honest, like when Han Solo first came up, you had an idea who he was and stuff like that. Okay, you had a general idea, but you didn't know his whole story, right? Like who are Han Solo's parents? Like, you know, like now, and Han Solo isn't fucking controlling the Force and shit, so we don't need a lot of explanation. But they're still going to do a movie about him. Like, I don't know when the movie is based or anything like that. I have no clue. But they may make a movie about Snoke, all right? Or a prequel that has maybe not about him, but that he's in, where he's actually in that movie, you know, and we discover and learn more about Snoke. You know, I think they have us in this weird, you know, remember that movie Pulp Fiction, where there's these scenes that come out, you're like, what the hell? And then you wait a couple scenes later and now it makes sense. I think it's maybe not purposely, but that's the route they're going to. All right. I think they're trying to get the story told, and they're not really bothering to at least give an idea on these backstories. And I don't think they want to commit to a backstory because of stuff that's been contrary before. Like another thing I read was, now again, keep in mind, there could be a very good explanation for this, but I got this from like online, so it's not gospel. I'm not saying this is truth, but let me see here. I don't remember the dude's name, so let me pull it up. Hold on. So I apologize if I don't pronounce this right, but I have not seen The Phantom Menace in years. Probably since like 2002 or some shit. So Qui Gon Jinn is Obi-Wan's master, right? But there's no mention of this guy in the first films, right? Which would be after this. So he told Luke that Yoda was his master. That is an inconsistency. Now there could be a very, I know Luke, I believe, if I remember correctly, did train with Yoda, so it is possible that he trained with both of them, but that's just something that was pointed out here, so don't crucify me or some shit, okay, don't hang me, I'm just telling you, right? So I think, and I see Fox, and I'll read your comments in a little bit, bro, but that's just something that I wanted to bring up, right? That inconsistencies have happened before in these movies. You know, I think the big one, and Fox is to have you on. I mean, you don't think, and I brought this up earlier. I know you said you're late, so let me bring it up while you're here in the chat. You don't think that? Do you believe that from day one, when they started filming, the first day of filming A New Hope, that they knew that Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia were going to be twins? Because I don't get that sense of it at all in the first movie. Wait for that response here. I'll read these other comments for now. Shit is messing up on me. Redfox doesn't trust them. He doesn't trust them to do shit. J.J. Abrams, I have no idea who that guy is. If he's writing the next one, would probably fix that, though. Do you know who wrote Revenge of the Sith? Okay, it was said that Snoke was watching all the shit going on since the rise of the Empire. Or books. I don't trust him to make a solo movie. Are they gonna like? Is this Harrison Ford at a later age, or are they gonna do a young Han Solo? Because it never works out when because like when I think Han Solo, I think Harrison Ford, right? So it's gonna be hard for the audience to accept the guy, no matter how good he does, and it's not likely he will, because it's not how good you act; it's how good you act as Han Solo, and the way Harrison Ford acted as Han Solo is Han Solo. So unless somebody could do that to the T, I don't know if that's gonna happen, right? Coming out of May, Mr. Doc, I actually like Rogue One more than the last two movies, right? I actually haven't watched Rogue One, right? I do know this, and this tells you a lot about a lot of moviegoers. Okay, I remember at work, because I had heard that Rogue One was a prequel, right? But there was some people that thought 'cause either they're not paying attention to these movies, or I don't know, right? But they thought Rogue One was after um, Episode 7, so they thought that was Episode 9. They're like, Darth Vader is back. Like, what? What do you mean Darth Vader's back? Anyway, I see an explanation here. So actually, Yoda is Obi's master in the sense that Yoda, being the Grand Master of the Jedi, taught them when they're younglings. After that, the younglings became Padawans and go to whatever masters. Right. Mr. Doc, hopefully Redfox, whoever made Rogue One, gets to make either Episode 9 or the solo movie. That was added on later, I think. Lucas wrote ROTS, solo prequel. What does ROTS stand for? Return of the Sith. Oh, okay, all right. Return of the Sith. Yeah, all right. Yeah, they didn't know that first movie was going to be a hit, that it was going to be. So a sequel wasn't even set in stone, so to speak. Well, okay, you got to look at it from that perspective. That makes sense. They're doing a young Han Solo. Holy shit, that's gonna be a failure, bro. That's gonna be an epic fail. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's gonna work. It's kind of like they would have done Revenge of the Jedi, and another actor and other actress was playing. I know they're older now, but when you look at Princess Leia, like that's Princess Leia. When you look at Luke Skywalker, that's Luke Skywalker. You know, you know what I compare it to? Like I don't know who watches wrestling, but remember when Razor Ramon and Diesel quit the WWF and they went to WCW? And then Vince thought, well, I own the rights to Razor Ramon and I own the rights to Diesel. And then he hired like two other dudes to play those roles. And people just fucking rejected it. That's kind of what it's like. Like, it's just, it doesn't, it puts people off. It just does. So, especially with characters that are, like Han Solo is, an iconic um, character. And so it's going to be interesting. See how it works out. Red Fox wants it to bomb. He wants the movie to fail. They're going to CGI. All right, Mr. Doctor, probably CGI a young face into Harrison Ford. Similar to how they CGI Tarkin, the one dude Vader respects in Rogue One. Did they? I haven't even watched Rogue One. I haven't even watched it. So I got to check it out. Red Fox, they have an actor for Solo already. Mark Hamill told us he disagreed with Johnson strongly about Luke. Probably still going to CGI his face, Redfox. Oh, man. But remember when they CGI'd, what's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger for, I forgot what movie it was, for Terminator. By all means, they should waste their time and make it, watch it online. Redfox, is it just me, or have the cartoon series become better than the movies in some ways? As it's a Disney product, Rebels has been good so far. Mr. Doc, yeah, they had an actor play Tarkin, but CGI'd his face to look like Tarkin. Jesus Christ. You can do everything today. Are they going to use like Harrison Ford's voice too or something? You know, I was thinking, and this is my opinion, but I don't know how you guys feel about this, but as I was thinking about this, given the fact that Ray was in this movie trying to bring, what the fuck's the dude's name? I forgot the guy's name. Okay. The guy that took Darth Vader's place. Somebody put it in the chat. Sorry. He's trying to get him back, right, to the away from the dark side. I don't know. Maybe they should have saved him killing his father for this movie, right? That could have been the big climax, because they would have made a little more sense to me. Because he was showing no interest. Kylo, yeah. He was showing no interest in going to the, what do you call it? The dark side? What do you call the other side? I don't even know. The good side of the Force or something, right? But he showed no interest in it, like, whatsoever. I don't remember anyway a conflict or something. Maybe there was, but I don't remember. I saw the movie at the theaters. I haven't seen it again. So, but as far as that goes, given the fact that it's in the middle of the whole thing, like it needed that big boost, and they could have used Harrison Ford in this movie. It could have given a little more star power, and they could have used him for at least one more Star Wars movie. Especially, like, it would have worked perfectly. He would have died in this movie, Return of the Jedi. Okay, although maybe they didn't want it to be overshadowed by Luke Skywalker disappearing, but that's probably why. But either way, like, to be honest, I don't even think Luke Skywalker had to disappear. To be honest with you, I don't think he had to disappear. I think he should have stuck around and trained Rey, and then it would have made sense if Rey gets all these skills. But hey, what do I know? Like, all Luke has done is give her a speech about the Force. Like, oh, the Force is everything around you. And all of a sudden, she's a fucking Jedi Master. But, hey. The Tarkin thing sounded like it would be hilariously terrible, but it came out pretty good. Tarkin's a guy that controlled the Death Star, right? Thomas Santo, yeah, they also CGI Arnold in Terminator Genesis. I thought it was pretty cool how they went back to the past to fight young Arnold. I gotcha. You know what made no sense either? Luke wants to die, right? But leaves a map to be found. They got to explain that one. I don't remember that until you mentioned it here. Well, that man at work by Kylo. It might have been at work by Kylo, like when Shawn Michaels kicked Marty Jannetty through the window. I thought the Force, Redfox says, I thought the Force Awakens was fine. It's like with Force Awakens, they lured us in, then shit on the next one, yeah. There's a book explaining that Luke taught Leia some Force basics, but she discontinued to uh, continue her political career. All right, yeah, that's Sarkin. Mr. Doc. Yet they show how Tarkin got command of the Death Star. Okay, I gotta check that out then. I have not checked out that movie. Mr. Doc on Emo Luke. What's up outside the ropes? I've been out for a while, but I'm just looking at the chat right now. Does anybody know what the hell the third one's called? The Vader scene is brief also, but totally worth it. No, Vader's up there as one of my favorite Star Wars characters, man, or probably just characters in general. I was actually Darth Vader, like, what was it? In 2006, I was Darth Vader for Halloween. So, I went to a Halloween party. I kept looking at people. And, I am your father. You know. Mary Sue Strikes, episode 9. I think Redfox is Lost Hope in episode 9, The Lost Hope. Episode 9, The Lost Cause. Oh, man. I do wonder, though, and because I know, like, I mean, they're known as being films, but one would wonder if it would have been better served if instead of doing 3 movies, they would have done like a 10-episode series on HBO or something. I don't know, or Netflix. It seems like they have to tell a whole other fucking story, you know? All right, guys. Well, I think I kind of already went over everything, so I know Ropes just came in, but and Fox came in after about halfway, but you guys can go back and listen. I'll just wrap this up so people can go back and listen to the beginning and stuff like that. Red Fox. Luke refused killing a defeated and unarmed Vader who had done worse than Kylo when all his wise masters told him he couldn't, but felt a little dark side in Kylo was and went like, shit, I better kill this kid. I know there was like 2 different perspectives there from what I caught anyway in the movie, but I'm not saying I'm not playing devil's advocate here, although I kind of am. But all I'm going to say, and I'll end it with this, is when he refused to kill Vader, I'm assuming he knew it was his father, right? So it's a little different, in my opinion. But because even with Vader, right, Vader mercilessly killed children, right? But when it came to killing his own son, all of a sudden Vader even turned on the Emperor. So we could flip that. You know, that could be flipped. You know what I mean? But I'll leave it at that. And I'm going to roll out, guys. Peace.